What if the very voices shaping your self-worth were never meant to be trusted? Have you been living under the weight of words that were never meant for you? It's time to silence the noise and walk boldly in the truth of who you are. Are you ready? Let me tell you something. Life has a way of exposing the truth about people, and nothing reveals it more clearly than old age, when the masks start to fall away for good. When you're young, full of energy, always on the move, helping others, they smile at you, they praise you, they act like you're someone they value. But watch what happens when you begin to slow down, when you find yourself needing them more than they need you. That's when their true intentions surface. That's when you finally see who really loved you and who was just around for what you could give. There comes a point in life when you simply cannot afford to be surrounded by ungrateful and entitled people, even if they share your blood. Because the truth is, ungrateful hearts are never satisfied. No matter how much you've given, how much you've sacrificed, how many years of your life you poured into them, it's never enough. You raised them, you gave them your strength, your time, your love, and now they walk into your home like it's theirs, take what they want, and leave without even a thank you. They only call when they need something. They speak to you with irritation, like you're a burden, like your presence is an interruption to their lives. Don't be deceived. That is not love. Love is not defined by blood alone. Real love shows itself through honor, through respect, through gratitude. And some of you know this pain all too well. You've poured yourself into your children, your family, your closest friends. You gave when you had very little to give. You forgave them even when they didn't deserve it. You chose their well-being over your own dreams. And now that your hair has grayed and your body is tired, you find yourself forgotten. You call and no one answers. You ask for help and they act as if you're asking too much. But listen, your worth is not tied to their attention. Your value does not depend on whether they acknowledge you. Ungrateful people have a dangerous tendency. They rewrite history. They forget the nights you stayed awake just for them. They forget the double shifts you worked. They forget the years you spent carrying the weight of their lives while putting your own on hold. They remember the one time you couldn't show up, but not the hundreds of times you did. And if you're not careful, you'll waste the best years of your later life trying to earn love from people who've already chosen not to see your value. Let me warn you, entitled people will drain you dry. They'll take every ounce of kindness you give and still ask for more. They'll weaponize your love. They'll twist your loyalty into guilt and make you feel bad for saying no even though they've given you nothing in return. But you owe no one your peace. You owe no one an explanation for why you're choosing to protect your heart at this stage of life. If someone can't appreciate your presence, let them experience your absence. There comes a moment in life when you must guard your peace like it's your most sacred treasure. You no longer have the energy to fight battles that don't belong to you. You don't have the time to entertain negativity that drains your spirit and darkens your mind. And yet, some people thrive on that chaos. They wake up each day searching for something to complain about, someone to blame, some drama to stir up. They carry a storm with them, and if you let them near, they'll drag you straight into the middle of it. Negativity is contagious. It spreads silently but aggressively, like a fog that settles over your heart. You could be having a peaceful day, feeling grateful and calm. And then one conversation with a bitter soul can steal all of that joy. They'll remind you of every wrong, dig up old pain, and taint the present moment with things that should have stayed buried. If you're not careful, you'll end up carrying burdens that were never yours in the first place. There are people who resist healing because their identity is rooted in their pain. They've held on to anger for so long that it's become familiar, something they don't know how to live without. Their bitterness comforts them. It explains away their choices. It justifies why they haven't grown, why they haven't moved forward. And when they see you choosing peace, choosing growth, it unsettles them. They'd rather see you miserable than watch you rise. That's why you must be careful with who you give your ear to. Be vigilant about who speaks into your life. Some people don't offer support, they offer poison. They won't help you grow, they'll only feed your fears. They won't help you fix what's broken, they'll just replay the damage. You do not have the emotional space for that anymore. At this point in life, you need voices that speak life. People who lift you up. People who breathe encouragement into your soul, not those who drain every ounce of joy. Because negativity, when left unchecked, will distort your vision. It'll make you see enemies where none exist. It will twist good intentions into threats. It will keep old wounds open. It will steal your sleep, your joy, and your rest, keeping you bound to pain you should have released long ago. Some have carried bitterness for decades, still angry about things long past. still blaming others for where they are now, still holding grudges like shields. They don't want change. They want someone to share in their misery. And if you're not careful, you'll become just like them, bitter, defensive, stuck. So make a decision. Decide that your peace is more important than their approval. Choose to walk away from conversations that stir division, from arguments that do nothing but reopen old scars. Learn to guard your mind from the poison of negativity, because time is short, and you cannot afford to waste another second on anger that leads nowhere. Some of you are carrying the emotional baggage of others, people who only reach out when they want to gossip, when they want to rehearse, hurt, and spread pain. You've tolerated it for so long that you don't even recognize how heavy it's made you. Their stories, their bitterness, their resentment, it's sitting on your spirit like a weight you were never meant to bear. Let it go. Let them go. You don't have to fight every battle. You don't have to respond to every insult. You don't need to explain yourself to people who refuse to understand you. Guard your peace. Guard your joy. Surround yourself with people who speak life, who pray for you, who remind you that hope still exists, that goodness still surrounds you. This is your season to live frito. Wake up with a heart unburdened by resentment, to enjoy the days God has given you. Don't waste another breath carrying someone else's bitterness on your back. Peace is far too rare and far too valuable to let anyone steal it away from you. There are people in your life who know exactly what to say, how to act, and how to appear genuine, yet their intentions are anything but pure. They are not interested in loving you. They're interested in using you. These are the manipulators, the self-serving, the ones who see you not as a person, but as a means to an end. And the hardest part, some of them are friends. Some are family. Some are the very people you've sacrificed most for. Manipulation doesn't always come wrapped in demands or harsh words. The most effective manipulators know how to disguise control as care. They'll make you feel guilty for setting boundaries. They'll question your kindness when you say no. They'll remind you of your past help, not to express gratitude, but to ensure they can come back for more. Tears, silence, passive aggression, anger. They'll use every emotional tool available to make you feel like you're responsible for their happiness, their problems, and even their failures. But hear this, you are not responsible for carrying someone else's selfishness. You are not obligated to hold up the weight of people who only come around when they need something from you. And many of you know exactly what this feels like. You've spent years being the one who always answers the phone, who always says yes, who always gives, even when you're running on empty. But ask yourself, who is there for you? Who calls you just to say, I'm thinking of you, or I appreciate you? If you're struggling to think of anyone, maybe it's time to face the truth. Your circle might be full of takers, not givers. People who manipulate you don't care about your well-being. They care about access to your time, your energy, your resources. They'll play the part, say the right words, make the right gestures, but the moment you stop giving, the moment you start protecting your peace, their true colors come out. And while it may hurt to see it, it also sets you free, because now you know who was really for you and who was only for what they could get from you. This is the season of your life when you must stop pouring into people who never pour back. Stop picking up calls that leave you feeling empty. Stop showing up for people who wouldn't cross the street for you. You cannot keep lighting yourself on fire to keep others warm. You cannot keep giving when your own soul is depleted. Yes, when you start saying no, some people will call you selfish. When you stop allowing yourself to be used, some will say you've changed. But here's the truth. You are not selfish for protecting your peace. You are not wrong for setting boundaries. You are not cruel for expecting reciprocity. The only people who get offended when you draw a line are the ones who benefited from your lack of one. So pay attention to who only shows up when they need something. Be wary of those whose love is conditional on what you provide. Love should never feel like a transaction. Family should never feel like a business deal. If someone cannot value you when you have nothing to offer, then they never truly valued you at all. This is your time to surround yourself with people who love you for who you are not, what you give. People who call just to check in. People who make you feel appreciated, not obligated. People who don't drain you, but fill your heart with peace. You deserve that kind of love. You deserve peace. You deserve to walk into the next season of your life without being weighed down by emotional leeches and guilt manipulators. Let them go. Let the ones who only know how to take walk away. Let the ones who hide control behind concern find someone else to deceive. Let the ones who never truly saw your worth be removed from your life. You're not losing them, they're losing you. And just when you think you've cleared the path, you'll notice another kind of person. The one who never seems happy for you. No matter how much you accomplish, how blessed you become, or how generously you share your joy, they always find a way to minimize it. They can't celebrate with you because your glow reminds them of their own darkness. Your success mirrors back to them the things they've refused to grow through. Jealousy is a dangerous thing. It doesn't always scream out loud, it whispers. It hides. It disguises itself behind fake smiles and half-hearted congratulations. It lurks in subtle comments, in passive-aggressive jabs designed to chip away at your confidence. You share something wonderful that's happened to you, and instead of joy, you get a snide remark like, "Must be nice," or "Some people have all the luck." At first, it might seem harmless, almost like a joke, but the more it happens, the clearer it becomes. They don't actually want to see you win. And here's the truth about people consumed by jealousy: they were never really for you to begin with. They might have stood beside you when you were struggling, offered sympathy when you had nothing, even pretended to support you during your hard times. But the moment you begin to rise, the moment blessings begin to show up in your life, their tone changes, their presence fades, their energy shifts, they stop checking in. Or worse, they begin to sow seeds of discouragement. They begin to minimize your success, make you feel like you don't deserve what you've earned, as if your blessings are something to apologize for. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. You've felt that sting. You've shared good news with someone you trusted, expecting celebration, only to be met with silence, or worse, indifference. You've poured your heart into a dream, seen it start to blossom, and instead of encouragement, you receive cold distance or quiet resentment. And yes, it hurts deeply, especially when it comes from someone close, someone you thought was rooting for you. But hear this: your blessings are not up for debate. You don't need to shrink yourself so that others feel more comfortable in your presence. You don't need to dim your light to soothe someone else's insecurity. What God has placed in your life is yours. No amount of envy can take it away. No amount of gossip, side eyes, or subtle digs can undo what you've earned through faith, perseverance, and grace. Jealousy makes people act in ways they never thought they would. It can turn a friend into a stranger. It can make a family member behave like a foe. It leads people to lie, to manipulate, to twist stories, all in an attempt to deal with the discomfort they feel from watching you thrive. And the saddest part? They could have been blessed too. They could have had joy too. But instead of working on their own growth, they waste their energy resenting yours. So what do? You create distance. You stop sharing your good news with people who only respond with bitterness. You stop expecting support from those who withhold it on purpose. You stop seeking approval from those who secretly hope you'll fall. You let them go not in anger, but in wisdom, because anyone who cannot celebrate your victories does not deserve front row access to your life. And don't you dare feel guilty about it. Some of you have been made to feel ashamed of your progress. You've been told you've changed. You've been accused of acting different. And the truth is, you have changed. You've grown. And yes, growth will always feel like betrayal to those who refuse to grow with you. You are not responsible for staying small just to make someone else feel big. You are not required to stay in struggle just to make others feel comfortable. If they loved you truly, they would be clapping when you risen not, questioning your motives, not pulling back in silence. Be especially cautious of those who only loved you when you were beneath them, the ones who cheered for you when you were down but distanced themselves when you rise. That's not love. That's not loyalty. That's envy. And you don't need that kind of energy in your life. Let them talk. Let them misunderstand you. Let them feel whatever they need to feel, but do not let them stop your progress. You've worked too hard, prayed too long, overcome too much to let someone else's insecurity rob you of your peace. Keep moving, keep winning, keep walking in the purpose God has set before you, because the right people will celebrate you, and the wrong ones, they'll remove themselves. And when they do, let them go with grace. And just when you think you've cleared out the jealous, another wave comes. People who carry chaos like a cloud. Every time they show up, they bring a new storm, a new crisis, a new emotional emergency that somehow becomes your responsibility. Some people would rather live in constant turmoil, bouncing from one bad decision to the next, always searching for someone to clean up the chaos they've created. And for years, maybe even decades, you've played that role. You've been the one who answered every late-night phone call, the one who gave money even when you barely had enough for yourself, the one who talked them down when they were on the verge of yet another meltdown. And yet, nothing ever changes. Here's a hard truth that many people don't want to face. Some people don't actually want solutions. They want sympathy. They don't want healing. They want attention. They don't want to be free because their identity has become wrapped up in their struggle. They've worn the label of victim for so long that they don't know who they are without it. They would rather complain than change, rather be comforted than corrected. And as long as you keep stepping in to save them, they'll keep falling apart because they know you'll be there to catch the pieces. At some point, you have to wake up and realize it's not your job to rescue them. It's not your responsibility to carry burdens that aren't yours. It's not your calling to put out the fires that they keep starting on their own. Because while you're pouring all your time, energy, and peace into saving someone who doesn't want to be saved, you're the one drowning. You're losing your strength. You're carrying stress that isn't even yours to carry. You're lying awake at night thinking about their problems while they sleep without a care. You're emotionally exhausted because you're trying to carry someone who refuses to stand up on their own. And that's not noble, it's destructive. It's breaking you down. Yes, love them. Yes, pray for them. Yes, offer your support, but understand this. You cannot change anyone who doesn't want to change. You cannot force someone into healing. You cannot drag someone out of dysfunction if they're committed to staying in it. That's their choice, not your cross to bear. And when you finally step back, when you finally start choosing your own peace over their chaos, they'll try to guilt you. They'll say you've changed, that you're abandoning them, that you don't care anymore. They'll remind you of all the things you've done for them in the past, not out of gratitude, but as manipulation to get you to do more. But let me be clear, you are not wrong for stepping away. You are not cold-hearted for saying, I can't do this anymore. You are not a bad person because you've chosen to protect your own mental and emotional well-being. In fact, it's one of the strongest and wisest decisions you can ever make. Some of you have spent far too long sacrificing your own peace in an endless cycle of rescue and regret. You've allowed their constant chaos to take root in your soul. But enough is enough. There is a moment in life when you have to stop and say, I cannot keep living like this. You must choose peace over drama, wisdom over dysfunction, freedom over obligation. Because peace is not just a luxury, it's a necessity. There's no greater feeling than waking up and knowing that you don't have to carry someone else's crisis, that your mind is quiet, that your heart is light, that your spirit is rested. You deserve that. You deserve to live without being tied to someone else's refusal to grow. And if that means letting go, then let them go. If it means saying no, say it clearly and without guilt. If it means setting boundaries, hold them like your life depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. Your peace is sacred. Your emotional energy is valuable. Your life is too short to be spent in a storm that doesn't belong to you. And those who are unwilling to take ownership of their lives will simply have to learn to live without your constant saving. Let them figure it out. Let them face their own consequences. And you? You walk in peace, you walk in freedom, you move toward the life God created for you in burden, strong and whole. Because some people may speak loudly, but their words don't build, they break. And it's time you stop letting those voices echo in your spirit. There comes a time in life when you must stop letting the words of others echo louder than the truth God has spoken over you. Maybe you've carried the weight of old criticisms for years, comments made in anger, jealousy, or ignorance. Perhaps it was a parent who told you that you'd never succeed, a friend who mocked your dreams, or someone close who made you feel small every time you tried to rise. Those words, though spoken long ago, still linger in the corners of your heart, shaping how you think, how you move, how you view your worth. But here's the truth. You are not what they said about you. You are not defined by their opinions. You are not limited by their doubts. Their words do not hold power over your purpose unless you allow them to. And today, you must choose to let them go. You are not a failure. You are not a burden. You are not a mistake. You are a child of God, loved, chosen, and equipped for everything He has called you to be. And if the voices around you aren't echoing that truth, then it's time to stop giving them access to your life. Some of you have allowed toxic voices to linger far too long. You've let people's negativity shape your confidence. You've allowed their criticism to stall your progress. You've held back from pursuing dreams because someone once told you you weren't good enough. But let me remind you, the only voice that defines you is God's. And His voice says you are enough. You are capable. You are powerful beyond what you see right now. When you listen to the wrong voices, fear starts to take root. You begin to question the calling on your life. You delay action. You hesitate in places where God has already given you authority. And before you know it, their doubts become your internal dialogue. But that cycle must stop now. Surround yourself with people who remind you of who you are not, who they think you should be. Surround yourself with people who speak life, who uplift, who encourage, who call out your strength even when you feel weak. Their words will water the seeds of your purpose. They'll strengthen your walk, and you'll begin to see yourself the way God sees you. Cutting off negative voices doesn't mean you're bitter. It doesn't mean you're unforgiving. It means you've chosen to value your peace. It means you've decided to protect your purpose. It means you're finally putting your emotional well-being first. And that's not selfish, it's necessary. You are not obligated to stay in environments that drain you. You are not called to constantly explain yourself to people who refuse to listen. And you are certainly not required to keep ties with anyone who repeatedly tears you down. Walk away if you must. Build boundaries if you need to. Let go of the guilt that says you have to keep everyone close. You don't. Not everyone is meant to walk with you into your next season. Some were only meant for a chapter, and that chapter has closed. Your soul is too sacred to be poisoned by bitterness. Your mind is too powerful to be cluttered by small-minded criticism. And your future is far too important to be delayed by the opinions of those who cannot see your worth. God's purpose for your life is still intact, still unfolding, still waiting. But in order to step into it fully, you must release the weight of other people's words. Tune them out. Stop replaying those old conversations. Stop measuring your worth through the lens of someone else's insecurity. Turn instead to the voice of truth, the one who created you, who sees you, who knows you. Because once you do, you'll find freedom, you'll find peace, and you'll walk with confidence into every door God has prepared for you. You don't have to prove yourself anymore. You don't need permission to be great. The journey ahead requires boldness, not permission. It requires clarity, not confirmation. It requires you to believe in what God has placed inside of you, even when others can't see it yet. Let this be the day you reclaim your voice, the day you silence the noise of critics, the day you finally say, "That's not who I am, and I'm not listening anymore." Protect your peace, guard your spirit, and walk boldly in the direction of your purpose. Sometimes, the hardest thing to do is to accept that not everyone is meant to go where you're going. The people you started with may not be the ones who finish with you. And that's okay. Letting go doesn't mean you didn't love them. It doesn't mean the time you spent with them didn't matter. It means you've recognized that your growth requires space, and some people simply can't grow with you. You see, emotional weight is real. Carrying toxic relationships, old grudges, unhealed wounds, and the need to keep everyone happy becomes a burden on your soul. You end up drained, confused, disconnected from yourself. You wake up tired, not because of what you did the day before, but because of who you allowed to pull on your energy. There's power in choosing peace. There's courage in deciding that you don't have to prove your worth to Anya Ninot anymore. You don't need to keep calling people who never call back. You don't need to explain your boundaries to those who keep crossing them. When you say no and they get angry, remember, respect was never their intention, only access. The truth is, some people love the version of you who doesn't speak up, who always says yes, who sacrifices peace to keep the connection. But the moment you start protecting your peace, they say you've changed. And they're right, you have. You've grown tired of being everything to everyone and nothing to yourself. Don't let guilt trick you into staying where your soul doesn't feel safe. Guilt is not a compass. It's often a tool used by people who benefited from your silence, your giving, your self-neglect. But grace, God's grace, eyes a compass. It will always lead you toward healing, restoration, and truth. It will guide you away from manipulation and into freedom. Some people only remember your mistakes. Some only show up to remind you of who you used to be. But God sees who you're becoming. And He wants to surround you with people who speak to that version of you, not the broken one, not the burdened one, but the healed one, the empowered one, the renewed one. Letting go is not about being cold-hearted. It's about protecting your heart from being constantly broken. It's about giving yourself permission to choose peace over pressure, growth over guilt, alignment over obligation. It's about stepping into the life you were created to live and not the one you were pressured to endure. And here's what happens when you do. You begin to breathe again. You wake up lighter. You start hearing your own voice again, not just the voices of those who once spoke over you. You feel the presence of God more clearly because you've cleared out the noise that once drowned Him out. You're not alone in this journey. Many people are silently walking the same road, learning how to release with grace, to heal with intention, and to move forward with wisdom. It's not easy, but it's necessary. And in the end, the peace you gain will be worth everything you had to let go of. Let today be the day you choose freedom over familiarity, peace over performance, and purpose over people-pleasing. You are not here to be drained. You are here to shine, to grow, and to walk boldly in the direction of the life God designed just for you.